Okay, these ones gotta go. God. No. Oof. Okay. Visual effects. So look the same as what I had before. My old masks are in here. That's funny. Okay. So here we are. No one in yet, but when somebody does come in, I will pay attention and start talking. Who's that? Is that little man? What are you doing down there? What are you doing, Buzzy? There's my Buzzy. There's my Buzzy. He's sleepy. Yeah, he had a run today. Hey, what's up, peeps? How you doing? I haven't been on here in at least a year, maybe even 2 now. So I thought I would get on and update you guys on what's going on. 3D models? Yes, I am a 3D modeler, 3D artist. So I've been in the game industry for 16 years, since 2001, and I've worked on over 25 games and apps. And so I used to have this show that I came on here and I chatted with you guys, and you would ask questions about, you know, how to get into game development and what you do in a game studio and how games get produced and some of the production pipeline things. And so I'm just kind of coming back and trying to up you guys and update you guys and just talk about that some more. So God, it's been so long since I've been on here that like all my apps on my iPad need to be updated, and the PlayStation app needs to be updated. I haven't even really been playing games much because I've been so busy. Okay, Dallas, you're a 3D artist. That's cool, man. Sweet. Do you work for a studio, or you just do it for a hobby? Papa Crash. Hey, what's up, bud? How you doing, man? Good to see you in here. The wife is doing good. She was manager at Macy's for a while, and then she quit. So she could come back and then work with me on some things because I needed to help me produce some apps. So, been doing that. Got into VR, right? So I have a PlayStation VR. If I can pull this over here, right? That's a pretty cool little device. I played some Resident Evil 7. I like it. I got halfway through it. I should probably continue with it, but long play sessions make me a little bit nauseous with it. But I got a Vive, and I got a Gear VR, and I have my old Oculus. Hobby, I use Blender. Oh, okay, Blender's a great little program to learn on and do stuff with. That's cool, man. Yeah, I'm a 3D Studio Max user myself, so I've been using that since, God, 1998, since R2, version R2. So I kind of grew with that one. Used a little bit of Maya at one point, but when I was working on Call of Duty World at War, but it was only kind of by force because that's what the studio used. And so I didn't really, I mean, I like the program, but the learning curve when you're so used to working with another software is just such a pain in the ass. When you're under tight deadlines and you're trying to get shit done, you just want to know where to find certain things. But yeah, that's cool, man. So I did that. Picked up the Oculus. You developing for VR? Yes, I have a game on the Vive, and it's coming out for Oculus Rift as well. I didn't actually develop it for Oculus first because I ended up getting the consumer version of the Vive first. So yeah, I got the Vive, and I developed this game called Blackjack Bailey. So it's my first VR game ever. So I wanted to keep it fairly simple as my intro to VR because I don't know what kind of problems I would run into, and I wanted to keep it a game that wasn't very experimental, something that people would already be familiar with, because there's that familiarity aspect. Everyone's doing like the experimental and the abstract things and the just kind of the weird things, and I wanted to stay away from that end and just build something people already know and people already familiar with playing, which is blackjack, right? It's a worldwide known game, one of the more popular known games next to poker, and it was easier to get coders to do that when I'm not paying them. So I kind of tied on resources, as we're on a rev share split agreement. So you don't want to develop something really big. You want to kind of keep it small and manageable. So we went with blackjack. It's a seated game, so that adds an extra level of comfort to the game, and it's on Steam. It's on Steam right now, actually. So I've been busy with that, and this is the cardboard cutout from that. So that's the character in the game, the dealer, Blackjack Bailey. It's actually imaged by my wife, as you've seen, Angelina. So she used to be a 21 dealer at the MGM Grand, and so I decided, hey, you know, I'll use her as a reference, a visual reference, as well as ask her, you know, the dealers have very specific moves that they do and hand gestures and very specific mannerisms that they're instructed to do being a dealer in a casino. So I had all that reference there for me with her too. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, the game's available on Steam now, and then I'm going to be putting it out for Oculus Rift next, and then after that Daydream, and then after that probably PSVR. On Steam, but just for the Vive though now, right? Though, yeah, it's just on the Vive, and the reason is because, you know, the game is done, right? So the environment's done, the 3D aspect of it's all done, everything's done. The only thing I have to do is map the controllers over from the Vive to the Oculus Touch. And like I was mentioning, the studio that I'm working with, they're working on a rev share split, and this is like a side project for them, so I don't get a lot of their time. I get like 8 hours a month to do anything, so I have to be very selective, and so everything takes a little bit longer because it's not like a full-time gig for them. So anyway, we're working on fixing a few bugs that are in the existing game and then bringing it over to Oculus Rift next. And I'll get you a Steam key as soon as it does release. If you have your if you have an Oculus Rift, I'll hit me up and email, and I'll give you a Steam key because you've been with me for a while. So that would be cool. Corey, what's up, man? Corey, how you doing, bud? Good to see you on here. Um, in my downtime, I've been actually playing a little bit of Yakuza Zero. I kind of enjoy that game. It does get to be a bit of a grind, but it's a little bit weird in some areas of the game. I don't know if you're familiar with the whole play style of it, but basically it's kind of like open world, but the world isn't that big. It's kind of like a smaller city, and there's various little missions you do, and not giving too much away. There's a storyline that you follow, um, where you're kind of like in this young recruit for like a Japanese mafia, and you end up like crossing one of the big bosses, and then the rest of the game is just trying to work your way out of the negative aspect of that. And so there's all these little side quests and things in the city. It's kind of fun, so I enjoy that game. Yeah, you bet, Papa Crash. Corey, I've been doing pretty good. As you know, Dark Breakers was this little banner that I put up there. This one, it's a little bit old right now. I've made like 3 other games since then, right? So, um, yeah, I worked on a couple others. Blackjack Bailey, which is my latest, right? And then I'm working on some emoji apps because they're hot in the App Store right now. So I want to capitalize on that and do those. Dark Breakers was a real was a sore spot for me, right? Like the whole thing with um, my partner had kind of abandoned the project. Basically, uh, he's he was working on another game on the side. I don't know if you know the full story, but he was working on another game on the side with his own company, with a separate company. And at the same time, he was working on Dark Breakers, and we were building Dark Breakers up. But unbeknownst to me, he was doing this on the side. Official Lips, hey, what's up? Right, thanks. Well, I'm back on. I thought I would come on and say hi to you guys, and just kind of come out here and hang out, and tell you guys what's up. With my latest endeavors and whatnot, and just kind of chat and see what you guys are up to. But I was just saying, just mentioning about Dark Breakers and the kind of sore spot that it was. My partner was working on another game at the same time, Crime Coast. It's in the app stores now. And it's similar to Dark Breakers in that it's like an online persistent world strategy game. And he was building up that while he was working on the Dark Breakers. And so his work tapered down on Dark Breakers. And I kept hitting him up. I was like, hey man, what's up with these updates? Hey, we got players saying this is a bug and this needs to be worked on, and they're waiting for this, and I prepared for him all these art assets, and he's like, I can't do it, I've been busy, there's things going on in my personal life. And none of that was really totally true. So come January 1st, like 3 months, I think it was 2016, 3 months after nothing was going on with him, and I kept hitting him up on a regular basis, and players were dropping off, and just shit was getting crazy. And he said, well, I started this new game. He said, I'm going to come clean, and I started this new game, and we're about to release it, and hey, I'm really sorry, man. If it goes well, then I'm probably just going to pursue that, and if it doesn't go well, then I'll help you develop whatever you want on Dark Breakers. And it went well for him. So Dark Breakers was basically abandoned by him, and since I don't code, I couldn't really do anything. I didn't have money to hire anyone to continue on with that, and players were dropping off, and even though it had a pretty good fan following, it started going down. The revenue started declining from it, and then at one point the cost of the server was more than the game was making, and we went through about 2 or 3 months of that, and then I just said, pull the plug, shut it. Because we don't want to take loss month after month if he's not going to continue to develop on it. And I'd already put in a lot of work, and I had additional work, that I'd done waiting in queue for him to implement, but he never did it. So that was a really hot spot for me. And then I said, well, I need to work on something else. So I started on the new game, the Strip Club Empire. And then what happened with that was oh yeah, sorry, on bigger things, right? Yes. So sometimes when you get hit with these kind of things in life, it's like a punch straight to your gut. You you hit it and you're pissed off, you know. And I was pissed off for like a solid month. I was like, damn it, you know. I knew that eventually I would recover and move on. You know, it wasn't something that was going to stay with me permanently, but psychologically, I felt really betrayed about that, and I felt really upset that it went down the way it did. And I said, well, I'll just, you know, when I did recover like a month later, I said, I'm just going to get back at it, and I'll do on these other things, and I'll just keep moving forward. But when you invest a year and a quarter of your life into something only to have somebody else fail, it's a hard pill to swallow. So there wasn't much I could do. I could go on trying to sell the game, and I kind of did that a little half-assed, like not too much, just trying to reach out to a few people on LinkedIn and a few emails and that. But they wanted a lot of data, and they wanted a lot, oh, how many players do you have? And it's like, well, there's no players. It's not in the App Store anymore. And they're like, well, why do we want it? And I'm like, it's hard to explain. You know, if you were to do this in-house, it cost you 200 grand. You know, I know what it's going to cost you to make this game if you guys do it in-house, but you could buy this for like 50 grand and it's yours. You know, that's kind of what I was selling it for. And didn't get any takers on it. Had a few interests here and there. And then I thought, well, I'll do maybe rev share splits with them or whatever. And just things didn't really go. And I said, well, I'm going to reprioritize my time in other areas. So I started on the Strip Club Empire. And I had a coder going with that, and we were going pretty solid for about 2 or 3 months, and then he just kind of dropped off, like vanished. And then I'm sending him emails, and he's not talking. And I had another project going on the side while doing that, which was Blackjack Bailey I'd started. And the more I didn't hear from that guy, because I didn't want to put myself in a position where all my eggs were in one basket again, where I'm dependent on one person, and if they fall, if they have an accident, if they move on, if they die, whatever, right? Then I don't want, I mean, God forbid, right? I wouldn't want that on. But if something like that happens, I have to be able to save myself in those positions. And so I wanted to diversify. And by doing so, I started on Blackjack Bailey while I was doing that. And the more that he didn't contact me back, I said, well, then I'm just going to keep pushing on Blackjack Bailey. And while I'm doing Blackjack Bailey, I'm going to make another app called Fake Trump Tweets. And then while I'm doing that, I'm going to make some emoji apps. And I'm just going to keep doing stuff until, you know, things get done. Because I can't wait for somebody else to finish something. So I'll do multiple projects at the same time. So yeah, that's what I've been doing for the last year and a half, is just kind of working on multiple projects. Did a Fake Trump Tweets app. We banged that out in less than a week. So the whole thing with like President Trump doing these really obnoxious tweets, and people are like, I can't believe he said that. And I said, wow, how funny it would be to make a parody app to allow people to create fake Trump tweets. And legally, I can do so because it's a parody. It's not, and he's owned by the United States in his current form. Now, if he was a celebrity, I would get into trouble right now because he would be under celebrity status, and then IP and you know, things like that come into play. But because he's owned by the United States right now, it's property of the government, and we own the government in that sense. That we, the people, you know, we're running that, right? So there you go. So he's open target. So we decided to create this Fake Trump Tweets app, and you can look it up on the App Store. It's free. There's like ads in it and stuff that help pay for the revenue of it. But it's funny because you can create little fake Trump tweets. You can adjust the amount of likes that the tweet has. You can adjust the amount of people that have seen it or retweeted it. And you can adjust the date, and you can even draw in crayon, which is kind of funny. And add pictures now. My partner added pictures. So we banged that out in about a week. So we did that, and then I'm working on some emoji apps now, and just released Blackjack Bailey, and now bringing it over to other platforms. Wow, man, crazy. Your drive through will always produce success. Thank you. I really appreciate that. You know, yeah, it's sometimes I don't feel like that, right? Sometimes you feel like, damn, like how many times am I going to keep trying something and banging my head against the wall and not working? But you got to keep pushing. you know, and I haven't had that big success yet. I've had a lot of small successes and things that keep me going, but I haven't had that big success yet. So, and that's okay. If I go through the rest of my life and I do a bunch of small successes, then I feel accomplished with that too. So, I mean, I'm in a good position. I'm doing what I love and I work from home, right? So that's pretty cool. Stay humble. Keep moving forward. Yep, exactly. So, but me and my partner, right? We still share the virtual girlfriend, virtual boyfriend series, um, and we even and yeah. So those games, they're still doing good for us. I may even create a virtual girlfriend in VR space. I think that's where it actually really belongs. But I would do a lot of things different with this one. Um, I would do things more catering to what the players have been requesting over the past 5-6 years that the games have been out. So they've always written me and with suggestions and feedback about how to make it a really great game, and I've gathered all that feedback and I know what they want, and I said, okay, here's where it is now, here's where I can take it to the next level and do it in VR. I mean, it would be, wow, it would be really fun and engaging. Creepy, right? It would be creepy for some people, but it would be really fun. I would make it fun. So that would be the goal anyway. What have you guys been up to? Can you explain process of porting a game from Steam to PS4? Yes, kind of. Briefly, what I'll do is I'll kind of tap into. We use Unity. I use Unity for my stuff, and I believe Unreal does this too. Basically, it has all the it allows you to, through a drop down list, select the builds that you want to build for. So if you have the basic game mechanic already flushed out, like for example in Vive, and you want to bring it over to Oculus Rift, right, or Steam, right, to PSVR, right, so you can do that through Unity because they have all that back end stuff already kind of mapped out. But the difference is you'll probably encounter a few bugs and a few memory limitations and things like that, and then you'll have to make adjustments after you build it out for that. And then you have to remap the controllers, and then I believe with the PSVR it's only seated play, I think. So I've not played any games where you stand with it or anything, but I think you would have to kind of, if you had a game that stood and moved around the room like a Vive, I'm not sure how that would translate, or maybe you'd have to use like a kind of like a locomotion for teleporting around a room using or movement around the room using the joystick or something. So these are the things that would need to be changed. Sometimes the UI too. Off the subject, but how are the dogs? Yeah, everyone's good. Look, Zen, come here, buddy. Come. They're all here. Here's Zave. Here's Zen. This was my puppy. Come here, Zen. Come up here. Come up here, buddy. We ran 3 miles today, so he's a little bit tired. Can you say hi? Come here. Come on. Hop up. Hop up. Come on. Hop up. Come on. Get. Okay. Well, he don't want to come up. But how are you doing? See? Okay. So this is Zen. He was a little puppy, and now he's a big adult dog. Zara's in the back. She's sitting over by the door. She's starting to age a little bit. Has me somewhat concerned. Some days are good, some days are bad. You know, I get a little bit more concerned on the bad days, but overall, she's doing pretty good. Yeah. So he's doing good. We run regularly. I have to run him every single day, or he just gets so pent up and he'll come over and start nudging me and bugging me and start panting real hard. So he gets a run every day. I don't know what we're going to do for the summer though, because it's going to be too hot in Vegas to run. So what have you been up to, Corey, off the lips? What games are you playing right now? I was mentioning I was playing Yakuza earlier in some of my downtime. I'm really enjoying that. I got all the games from Christmas, like everything, and even ones from last year's Christmas that I haven't even opened yet because I've been so busy with game development. But Some things I want to get into are Mass Effect Andromeda because my friend worked on it. And then, you know what I miss? I miss The Division. I miss that game. I didn't think I would. I got so frustrated whenever I went into the black zones last time I was playing it. But I get like this kind of call to want to go back and play it every once in a while. I miss that. I'll actually be in Vegas for June for a family wedding. Oh, nice. It's going to be hot here. Where are you staying? Somewhere on the Strip? Yeah, I got Mass Effect Andromeda, and I haven't even played the latest Metal Gear Solid, or the Final Fantasy VII, or Watch Dogs 2. So those are three that I really want to get into soon too. I got a couple PSVR games, Resident Evil, so I want to finish that one up. Henderson. Oh, okay. Staying with family there. Nice, like Green Valley Ranch area. It's really nice over there. Ghost Recon Wildlands for me, and building an RC plane. Oh, okay, very cool. Yeah, Ghost Recon Wildlands. How is that? What's the play style like? Lived there for many years. Yeah, me too. I lived over on Horizon Ridge in Gibson area, actually. So I like it there. I like it there. We had a nice house there. And then when I moved to Texas, and then when I moved back, we just moved to Summerlin. So this is a really nice area too. What programs do you use to make apps? I use 3D Studio Max for any 3D art that I do. I use Photoshop. I've been a regular Photoshop guy since like 1997. So I use that for primarily anything 2D texturing, making whatever, right? And then for game engine, I like Unity. Unity's a really nice one, so I'm familiar with it, so I've stuck with it. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a great game. Division is great, always good fallback. My buddies are addicted. Yeah, it's been so long since I played that. I bet you there's a ton of updates that I got to go through to play it. But every time I went into Division, I went in those dark areas, and there was always some asshole like 3 levels above me picking me off, and I would end up just like running out of there, or running around avoiding them. But I miss it because when I wasn't running around avoiding getting killed by other players that were higher levels than me, I miss kind of going for those little drops and stuff. That was a nice treat. Third person has its flaws but enjoyable. Okay, so Ghost Recon Wildlands is third person then. Yeah, I'm alright with third person games. I'm alright with them. Yeah. So I wish I could show you guys some of the Blackjack Bailey stuff, but I failed to even charge my iPad, so it's like at 2% right now, and I can't even pull any images onto it. But it's pretty cool. You can look it up on the Steam store, and you can see some of the screenshots. It's really neat if you've ever seen any of the VR stuff, to be able to just kind of sit in the VR space and look around and do stuff. Dark Zone is a bitch. Yeah, it is. It really is. God. I remember this one time I was in there for like 4 hours, and this dude just kept chasing me around everywhere, and then I'd leave, and then I'd go back in, and he would like find me, and he was like, he had this like vendetta against me, and I was like, God damn it, dude, leave me alone, let me just play. But yeah. and then I would go try to get some friends and then pick them off, and it was just kind of this back and forth thing. But yeah, it's a nice departure. Been playing with Google Tilt Brush on the Vive, which is neat. It's a drawing application, 3D drawing application. And then there's a game called Knockout Legends, which was similar to what I wanted to develop for the Vive, like a Mike Tyson's Punch-Out type of game. I have the PS4 VR now. Yeah, nice, dude. Which games you got for that? I have Resident Evil 4 and I have Valkyrie. And I didn't really like Valkyrie that much. I played a little bit of it initially. Maybe it's been updated. Um, Probably has been updated since I initially got it, but it felt unpolished to me for a launch title, and it felt, I mean, it had some cool aspects, but it was, I don't know, I started getting nauseous playing it. I don't get as nauseous in my Vive as I do in my PSVR. So how's VR? You think worth buying yet? VR is really cool. There's a lot of lack of titles on there that last anything over 20 minutes. And I guess that's the biggest complaint about it right now. Playing in VR is really cool though, you know, doing things in VR. But none of the big boys are in VR yet because there's no money in it. And so you're not going to see the Activisions and EAs and Blizzards jump on board that and create something worth like, oh my god, I got to have this. Except for Bethesda, right? They're doing Fallout 4 in VR. And that may be a game changer because if they bring it over to VR, then that could be pretty big. That's got a huge fan base. The Vive, to me, it's definitely worth it to play on the Vive, but I don't play on it too often. I still prefer my 2D flat screen in the games, because games really are what, you know, software is what really drives the hardware. It's fun to play like that, but it's just not a lot of quality titles out there. And even mine, you know, it's a simple blackjack game, so you're not gonna play it for hours on end unless you really love blackjack, right? I have that boxing one. It's a workout. Oh, you have that one, Knockout Legends. Wow, you have a Vive too, or I thought you just had a PSVR. Just checked out blackjack game. Did you model everything? Yes, I did actually. I first started with a model from Turbo Squid called something Angie, right? It's like a 3D model, and then I modified that model to have this full character here. So I changed it up quite a bit, but yeah. But I started with that as a template, so I didn't model directly from scratch. But all the casino environment and everything else you see in the animations in the game are all done by me. I have a Psychonaut. What's that mean? Dovetail Games Flight Sim is phenomenal. What's that? What system's that for? Papa Crash. Is that for PSVR or is that for a Vive or Oculus? I have the Psychonaut. You mean you have the PSVR? Did that auto-complete Psychonaut instead of PSVR? Is that what happened? I think that's what you meant. So they have Knockout Legends on the PSVR? Because I wasn't aware of that. I thought it was just available for the Vive. So I'm also doing, getting into emojis too, right? It's not a game, but it's a really hot market right now, and I like to jump on board things when I have the ability to do so. And I'm making, of course, a German Shepherd emoji, right? So that there is a couple out there, but I can do better art. So, and I have some better art, so I'm almost ready to release that now. So I'm really happy about that. Vive and Oculus. Wow, you got it all, Papa Crash. Nice. Okay. Yeah, dude, shoot me an email if you have a Vive, and I will send you a Steam code so you can download my game for free. Yeah, because I have those access to Steam codes, which is kind of cool. So we just launched like 5 or 6 days ago. So we just put it out. It's been available on the Gear VR. I had it on Gear VR as well. But I don't enjoy playing it on that because you have to kind of flip up and down on the side thing. The controls are mapped to the side of it, and you have to kind of hold your arm there for a while. Now I do have the new Gear VR controller, and I got it ahead of time because developers can request hardware from Oculus, and they shipped it out to me like a month in advance, and that was really cool of them. So I have that, but I never actually mapped the controls to that because I got my my programming team we're very tight with where we set our priorities on what we're building. So rather than mapping out the controls specific to the Gear VR. We wanted to get it over to the Vive and then over to the Rift, and then clear up some bugs as we go. Do I ever make anything 8-bit? No, not currently. You mean like art style wise, like that kind of 8-bit look, the Minecraft look, or did you mean like truly like 8-bit sprites? I haven't played around much with that art style at all. I had considered doing it for the Strip Club Empire game that I was going to be building, or am kind of building but put on hold. Because I thought that would be more universally accepted if it's kind of in a kind of cartoony way, so it wouldn't be so serious. And I thought that might be nice to kind of do it that way, but I'm still on the fence about how the art should look on that. I started more on the realistic side though. Started modeling out characters and the building kind of realistically. So, Wildlands it is, huh? Yeah, that's pretty much it, what I've been doing. And, oh, I attended VRLA, which was recently in the VR convention in Los Angeles, so drove out there, set up a booth. They gave me a free booth, and that was neat. And this standee is from that booth. Well, I paid for the standee separate, but I had it made specifically for the convention. Set up like a little green felt blackjack table, and then put the cards on it, and had this, and it was just kind of demoing the game on Oculus Gear. Gear VR. The Thrill of the Fight is the boxing VR game I have on Oculus. Oh, okay, The Thrill of the Fight. I have that one too. That one's pretty good, but it's like a work in progress. It's more, it's kind of strange. I downloaded it early. The one that I really enjoy, though, is called Knockout Legends, and it's more cartoony. It's a little bit more like Mike Tyson. You have these different enemies that would progress upward, but it's a little bit more, I want to say, weirder than Mike Tyson, too. The characters are like, there's like this cheetah girl, and then they're not all like traditional boxer stereotypes. They're kind of more varied and expand further out than that. And then there's like this octopus you fight with at the end is like one of the bosses, and so yeah, The Thrill of the Fight's pretty good. There's another one, The Fastest Fist for the Vive that I have, because I'm into the boxing thing. I do like boxing in real life, so I enjoy the boxing games and their accuracy. I would enjoy it more if there were kickboxing, but I guess you could hook up trackers to your legs, but I don't know how many consumers are going to be hooking up like peripheral devices for their legs to play games like that. It probably wouldn't be very profitable to make a game that's too niche. So you want to kind of keep it universal so you can appeal to a broad audience. If you ever get a chance to try a flight simulator in VR, yeah. What was the name of that one again? Blow Your Socks Off. Yeah, you mentioned it. What was that one? Cool. I'm currently modeling a real person, Buzz Lightyear. Okay, yeah, Buzz Lightyear. Are you saying that you're modeling it as in a realistic art style, or is that what you meant by that, or that you're modeling after the character Buzz Lightyear? 'Cause that's kind of a cool character, that Disney look on that. I've seen people take Disney characters and make them look realistic through 3D art, and that's really cool too when they do that. I've seen some really neat stuff that way. Okay, very cool. Very cool. Are you putting it up on ArtStation or something like that? Yeah, ArtStation. think so, where everyone's kind of showing their stuff off. Buzzy hot. Oh, and this exercise bike you see here, this is actually a VR peripheral. It's called a VR Zoom, and it has a Bluetooth connection USB thing in the front, and then it connects to the computer, and then you wear the Vive on it, and then the control handles actually have like buttons you press on it, right? And it's specific to the games. There's only certain games available for it. There's like a cowboy game where you're riding this horse through this town, and these bandits come flying by you, and you push a button, you pedal real fast, and you push a button to make the rope launch around them, and then you grab them. So it's you're kind of grabbing bandits with your rope. You're roping bandits on their horses, which is it's I'm butchering it. It's better than I'm making it sound. And then there's a race car game, like an F1 race car game, which is pretty cool. And then there's like a Pegasus game where you're flying on a Pegasus horse through like a mountain range, and you have to, I think it's either rings or dots or something you got to collect as you're going through, which is neat. And then there's a tank game where it's a real hilly terrain, and you kind of pilot this tank around, right? You drive this tank around, and then you shoot at other tanks. Just kind of like an open world, kill as many other tanks that are in there as you can. And so you pedal to move forward. And that's kind of a neat mechanic. Blender share, but we'll start using ArtStation. Yeah, ArtStation I think is connected with LinkedIn. A lot of artists go in there and they put their artwork up on that now as their kind of like portfolio website. So back in my day, we did websites. Actually, I started before we even did websites. I started when we were doing VHS tapes. Oh my God, I'm really dating myself here. But they were called demo reels, and we would literally render out like an AVI, a film, and then we would have it put to a VHS tape. VHS as in a VCR. And the studios would have a VCR, and they would play the tape and then assess your abilities based on that tape as an artist. But that kind of died out around, I don't know, like the year 2000, 2001, right in there, right? And I actually submitted a demo, that VHS tape, to get my job at Westwood Studios. And then CDs became a big thing, and then websites. Just artists started putting their stuff on websites. But now the thing that they put them all on, their portfolios on ArtStation, yeah. Aerofly FS2 or Dovetail Games Flight School. Dovetail Games Flight School. I need to try that one. I'm in the mood for a good flight sim. I'm hoping that Ace Combat does something for VR soon. I've always been a fan of their games, so that would be kind of cool if they did. Big Koo fan, been a while, bro. How's the family? Hey, what's up, Big Koo? How you doing, man? The family's good. I have been away for a while on a hiatus. First, I was really down about kind of like the abandonment of Darkbreakers, right? And then I picked myself up, and I kind of moved forward from there and started developing other games. And now I'm just kind of getting back in here and just catching up with you guys. And yeah, we'll see where it goes from here. But yeah, I haven't talked to anyone really in the past year and a half. Just kind of laying low and developing games and just trying to pick myself up. At least for the first month, it was kind of rough. But after that, I was all right. I like to eat fries. Great. Me too. I love fries. Everyone does, right? Most people do. Anyway. I want Sly Cooper over to the PS4. How easy will it be to port? Sly Cooper 2 on the PS4. I don't know. What system is it on currently? You'd have to ask the developers. They would know how easy it would be to port. I haven't played that particular game, and I think I've seen advertisements for it, but I haven't played it, so I don't know what system it's on or what's involved with it. Is it like a I would assume by the name it's something like a Crash Bandicoot, like kind of like you run in like a first person or a third person platformer where you run forward and collect gems or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm way off. I don't know. Maybe it's like Ratchet and Clank. I don't know. But yeah, I haven't played that game. I don't know what systems it exists on. It was PS2. Okay, that's why I'm not that familiar with it. Then PS3 games, but same developer as Crash. Okay, so that's why I'm associating Crash with it. That makes sense. Then it's probably a quality game if it came from Naughty Dog, right? I believe. Is it Naughty Dog that did Crash? Yeah, I think so. It was a quality studio. I know that. It's a PS3 game. Um, I don't know. Maybe in studios the way it works is they after they get done with a project they evaluate. They say, well, what are we going to work on next? Like if they have one team to just work on something, or if they have two, they'll kind of offset the teams. But they typically prioritize a lot of different things come into play into what makes them want to do their next game. One, of course, is money, right? How what's their most popular titles, what's most demanded by the fans, and then if they have something they've been itching to do, like in the back of their minds for a while, and they've been wanting to do that, that also can come into play. So it really depends on the studio and how many resources they have. And how popular the game was. But it's entirely possible. But like Bethesda, right? You'd think that they would be working on Skyrim sequel along with a Fallout 5, along with all the other cool shit that they do. But they like to keep their team manageable, so they like to keep it around 100 people or so, and not expand out to be this big monolith. And so they say, okay, here's how many games we can do with this amount of people, and they manage it that way. And they've been really successful using that formula, so they don't overshoot themselves. War Thunder is also for VR. That's interesting. War Thunder. Now, wasn't that? I'm thinking of Warhawk. Warhawk was a PS1 game. Never mind. Mike, gotta go. We'll shoot you an email. Take care. Hope you stream more. Yes, Papa Crash. Good to see you, bro. Yeah, shoot me an email. I will send you a Steam key for the Vive version of Blackjack Bailey. So you can try it. It's cool seeing you, man. Take care. War Thunder. Yeah, Warhawk. I remember Warhawk for PS1. I haven't tried War Thunder. It's probably completely different. But has anyone completed Resident Evil for PSVR? I need a new game. Tired of same old things. Yeah, right. Well, the one I'm playing, you know which one I actually really enjoyed that I played during Christmas was XCOM 2. I really enjoyed that one. I enjoyed the strategy of it. It was really insanely difficult, but once I got to, I think I had to restart the game like 3 or 4 times before I finally got the hang of what was going on and didn't just die. But that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that one. I'm enjoying Yakuza, even though there's a little bit of a grind to it. There's a lot of story to read through. There's a lot of talking going on and dialogue. So, but it's fun. It's a little bit weird. Like it has some Japanese weirdness in it, the whole cultural thing with Japan, and they have some weird things going on. And the storyline's kind of set in the 1980s, so that's kind of neat. Like when they first had the brick cell phones, like, hey, look at my big brick. I can throw it at you and crack your skull. Yeah, so I don't know. It's kind of neat seeing that kind of stuff go on. Good night, Pop Crash. I'll check those out for sure. Yeah, check it out. I like Yakuza. I want to open up my Andromeda though. I want to finish Yakuza, but it says I'm only like 17%. I'm like, what? I've played this game forever. It feels like I'm at least like 70% complete with the story, I would think. But maybe there's a lot more to it. So it's definitely a long one. Um, I have Mass Effect Andromeda. I know it took a lot of shit about the animations and facial animations on that. I'm not, and even from my artist friends, like my artist friends were like, "What the hell's this shit? What are they doing?" Um, I don't know the full story on that. I think the developer got on like Kotaku or something and explained what had happened and how they have to make variants or something, and this was a result. Um, so I don't know, but it could be when you're dealing with characters that change a lot of shape like they do in Fallout, where they take one model and modify it 100 different ways to make it look different things. You don't get as good looking as of characters as you would if you took a specifically designed character, right? Like with where you couldn't modify it around much. Um, the same with my virtual girlfriend, right? Sometimes like the combinations between the skin color and the hair and it just looks weird. So um, there's a lot of don't use this with this variation, use this with this one. So I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I should probably play the game first and then come to a proper evaluation of that. But I want to play it because my friend worked on it. He did the writing in it, and so he did the writing in the last Mass Effect games too. So kind of want to get through this and try that one. So that one's kind of cool. And I want to finish up the Resident Evil one too. I don't like that big dude chasing me around though. Jesus, that's like the worst feeling ever. When you're trying to sneak around this place and you're worried about these guys coming over and splattering your guts everywhere. It's very anxiety driven game, and I don't know when I get done with what I'm doing, I don't like a lot of anxiety because I have anxiety when I'm developing. Like, is this game gonna do? Am I gonna do good? Am I gonna ship on time? And what's people's gonna? I mean, I'm filled with anxiety all the time. Sometimes when I play games, I'd rather not be like really on the anxiety pill so much, I guess. But yeah. So, I got this book by Jesse Shell called The Art of Game Design. Really good shit. Did I just lose my bookmark? No, okay. Um, I'm only through like a little bit of it so far, but it is so good. It talks about basically how your life experience, whatever it is, really plays into game design. So wherever you worked, whatever you've experienced in your life, it gives you a broader perspective on things, and that comes into play when you build a game, because it's not just about creating a game with a few puzzles and stuff. You have to be able to touch into people's emotions and make them relate with certain situations too, especially when it comes to narrative and storytelling. And so he really touches on that, and so far I'm really enjoying what I like. So if you ever want to get a good game design book, this is the one that you want to get. The Art of Game Design by Jesse Shell, Book of Lenses. So that's pretty cool. And man, I wanted to show you guys Blackjack Bailey, but I don't think I can do it. I had to buy this Galaxy S8 just so I could run the game on it. My friend also did a Gear VR game called Cursed Sanctum. Do you guys have you tried the Gear VR? It's not bad. It's not a bad device for like $100. It doesn't have it's not as good as like a Vive, but I'd say it's only just a slight step down from a PSVR. But I think the main difference is software, right? The what kind of games you can fit in on this phone versus what kind of games you can fit on a PSVR, right? So these are like full-fledged games, and these are like mobile games. Um, but the experience itself, it's really clear, right? It's really clear, and the head tracking's pretty good. So that's kind of neat. But I don't think there's a way I can show you this. Apps, yeah. Yeah, I can't. It it forces you to put this inside the device, and then it opens it up to a virtual store screen, right, with your library and the games you have and the more games you can download. So it's not the same as being able to just like show you a screenshot or something. Like I could show you screenshots if I had them on my iPad, but I don't. So you're just kind of stuck with that cardboard cutout. So, and I've already gotten requests to make Blackjack Bailey go strip, right? Like, of course, people are going to request that. So that's a consideration. I don't know what the rules are in the Steam store regarding that. But if I did, I probably wouldn't do it inside that specific application. I would probably build another application or another game, call it something different, maybe a slightly different environment, and then did it that way. And then just kind of bring much of the same code base over. Maybe do poker or something, right? So yeah, that's something to consider in the future. I have some more ideas for games that I want to do. I've been really wanting to do a jet ski game in VR, like a watercraft game. But I know watercraft aren't as popular as what they used to be, so I'm kind of like, maybe I'm on the fence on that. But I really enjoyed Wave Race 64. I don't know if you guys played that, but I played the hell out of that when it came out, and I really enjoyed the water physics and jumping the ramps and doing all that. I think it would be so much fun, and the art style could be really simple, polygonal, and really bright colors, and just really enjoyable. And do that one in VR. So I would like to do something like a Wave Race 64 and do it in VR. You remember Wave Race, yeah. You had four jet skiers, right? Well, there was like the girl who was kind of like lightweight, and then there was like the one skinny dude that was really lightweight and he was really fast, and then there was like the average dude, and then there was like the big heavy dude, and he would go really fast once he got up to speed, but when it came to acceleration, he was really slow. But like the girl and then the little skinny dude, they had really good acceleration. So each of the skis had their own attributes, and I thought that was really neat because you try to pick which character would be good for all the different courses and whatnot. I was so amazed by the graphics. Yeah, right. And yeah, you're talking like Super Mario 64 and Wave Race 64. Those are really cool graphics back then. Really immersive, and I bet you if I played it now, I would look at it and go, "What is this crap?" Right? But back then, it was like the shit. You know, like wow, I feel like I'm really there. And I think bringing that into a VR experience would be really cool. Or also a snowboarding game, I think would be really cool for VR, where if you like stood up, right, and I guess in a snowboard, well, you're not getting my full legs here, but you kind of push your hips out and bend your knees, and then you kind of lean back, and by doing so, it makes you either turn right or left. That's kind of the mechanics of how it works when you're snowboarding, right? Is basically leaning forward and leaning back, and I think you can do that in VR to some degree. So maybe stand up or and lean forward, stand up and lean back. You probably have a lot of people falling while they were playing, but you would try to make the controls not really that extreme, so that they have to lean way over. You'd have it so that they just lean a little bit in either direction. But I think that would be a lot of fun to do some snowboarding games, something like a cool, yeah, 1080. 1080 was a great game for it was PS1, right? Was it PS2 also? What games did I develop? Skookum Trooper. What's up, man? I have worked on, oh my gosh, Earth and Beyond, Renegade, Star Wars, Empire at War, Star Wars, Empire at War Expansion, and then there was Universal War, Call of Duty, World at War, My Virtual Girlfriend, My Virtual Boyfriend, Super Pretzel Factory, Mustache App, Candy Maker, Dark Breakers, Blackjack Bailey, I Love Chantel Jeffries, and then some casino games that I worked on, which was like Garfield, Breach Boys. I don't know. I've done a lot of stuff, so I've developed over 25 games throughout my career. Lumberjack I did a little bit of work on Lumberjack for was it the Wii, and then did the character in there, the main character, and then I did yeah, I don't know. I think that covers it. I did a lot of stuff. Need some variety, yes, definitely, right? Seems like nowadays, if it's not a shooter, nobody interested needs some variety. Yeah. Yeah, oh man. I think people get used to it, right? They get used to shooters. I miss shooters. Because I don't play games that often, so once in a while I just want to kind of go zombie mode, kind of brainless, and just go around shooting things, and I think a lot of people do that. And maybe it's more out of habit than it is out of actual choice in a lot of instances. People just get used to going in there and just go, all right, here's my buddies, let me get my gun, let me just go in there and start shooting people and jumping around, and it just becomes a big death match, right? So they're good for that aspect, but I like something a little bit more cerebral, I like a little bit of narrative and storyline in my games. So I like the Final Fantasies and the Mass Effects and the Yakuza, so I'm working on that one now. A good Western shooter. Yes, Red Dead Redemption, right? That's awesome. I love Red Dead Redemption. And I guess they're working on the next iteration of that, number 2. So they're keeping their doors closed and everything's really quiet, but they're working on something phenomenal back there. So can't wait for that one. Casino games, yes. I worked for a company called Mycon Gaming back in 2003 to 2004 for a year, and the boss at the time, our manager, said, "Hey, we're gonna build 52 games this year, one a week." And I'm like, oh my god, this guy's fucking nuts. And he really meant it, right? He wanted us to do a game a week. And his ambitions were so ridiculous that it made us work 12-hour days every single day and weekends for an entire year. And I was so pissed off during the whole time that I was working there. But I couldn't quit because that was my only job at the time. And they take advantage, because when you're on a salary in what's called a work for hire state, there's no legal law from them not keeping you late to work. I mean, you have the right to leave and quit if you want, but that's it. You can't take any legal action with attorneys for being overworked or anything like that. So, yeah, I did that. I worked for that. I think we produced 6 games that year, not 52, but we produced 6. So if that gives you any indication. But we did do 6 casino games. They were like slot games. I worked on the Beach Boys. It's not like I had a choice. These games were handed, say, hey, here's what you're going to work on. Well, there's Beach Boys game. I was the art director on that, so I did pretty much everything in that game. And then it's called Beach Boys California Girls. And then there was a Garfield game that I worked on, and then a Wink Martindale game that I worked on called Survey of America. Clue, the board game by Milton Bradley, did a lot of the graphics for that. This prototype game that's kind of like a pachinko game called Kazoingo, it was kind of neat. It So it's like where this ball drops, and it kind of drops down these pegs and lands in a slot, and whatever the number is of that slot, you get the that money from it. Yes, yes, Red Dead Redemption. I'm waiting for that one. I'm really excited for that. 6 is the new 52, right? Oh man, everyone on that team was so upset. There was only I think 5 of us artists, and 5 of us kicked out 6 games that year, and it really it takes a lot of work to do a game. It's not something you can kick out once a week. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. Well, he had this plan. He was going to do a template, and then we were going to reskin the template like a dozen times, but he didn't factor in everything, like really what's involved with it. He didn't know. He just had this crazy ambition to do this. And because his boss had just hired him and said, "Hey, I want you to produce lots of games, with your new team," and he said, "Okay, I'll do it," kind of kiss ass, and that kind of put us in the position of working lots of overtime to meet the demands and the expectations that he set forth with his boss, which I will never do that again. I will never put myself in that position. In fact, that was the turning point for me that said, motherfucker, I am not going to go work for somebody under these conditions ever again. So when Petroglyph called me and said, "Hey Mike, you want to work on a Star Wars game?" I was like, "Yes, please." I was like practically in tears because I've been working for this guy for a year, working through weekends and 10 to 12 hour days every day, right? And I was just so fed up. And then Petroglyph's like, "Hey, we got all our stuff together and we're working on a Star Wars game. You want to come work with us?" I'm like, "Yes, please. How do I get out of here?" So I did that. So I got back into gaming at that point. Takes all the art out of the work. No passion. Yeah. It really does. You're just a cog in a machine, and they're just grinding and grinding and whipping and grinding, and it's just no fun. It's good in the sense that if you go through such a disastrous time with some people, you form really strong bonds with those people, and those people are still my really good friends in real life. Like we look back on it much the same way like a military guy would look back on going through Afghanistan with his buddies or something of that nature. I mean, I'm not comparing it. Our military people are obviously they put themselves and lives on the line every day, and it's a lot of danger and stuff and that. But in the sense that you bond with those people under extreme circumstances, that's the comparative narrative that I'm offering here. The games were not particularly fun to develop for, but it was a good learning experience, and I met some good friends through that. So that was the positive outcome of the experience. Rewrite Moon and Terra. Hello. I can't tell you. Is that your name? Is your name Rewrite Moon and Terra, or is that a Rewrite? Is Rewrite your name? Okay. Hello. Anyway, hello. So yeah, this is Chavo, the game developer. I'm a 16-year game development veteran, as it says on my bio, and I've been doing working for studios for 10 years, and then I went indie developer for the past 6, partly for some of the reason I was just stating just now, because I've had such bad experiences when I was working at different places that I said, screw this. If I'm going to work this hard and with this much uncertainty, because that was the other thing that was constantly holding over our head like a carrot. It's like, hey, if you don't work this hard, man, they could cut this team. We'll all be out of a job. And it's like, God dang it, you're making us work all these hours, and then you're throwing this on me, this guilt trip that I'm gonna get everyone fired here, out of a job if I don't do what these expectations you've set with your boss. I mean, it was really ridiculous. But yeah, after going through that, some things change in you mentally, and you say, I'm not gonna do that again. I'm not gonna do that again. I'm not going down that route. That was bad. So I see the banner now. Yeah, so that's some of the games that I've worked on. Not all of them, but some of them. That's I condensed it down. There was a lot more on there initially, but you can only fit so many in that space, and then the writing got really small. So I just some of the more prominent ones I put up there. Some of the ones you may be familiar with. But anyway, I should probably go soon. It was really good chatting with you guys again. I haven't talked to you for a year and a half, and I just wanted to kind of give you an update on what's going on. Things are going good. My dog's older. I'm working on VR games now, and just kind of moving into that space slowly, trying to get my feet wet, and then we'll see what happens from there. But I have a lot of good ideas, and I want to keep doing what I'm doing. Isn't this the nature of the business, though? It is, Skookum, but the thing is, thanks. The thing is, it is the nature of the business, but if you're going to work that hard and with that much uncertainty, if you're going to have a job today, are we going to meet deadlines? I mean, I'm going through the same things as an indie developer, but I'm going through the same risk. I'm going through all the same pains, but I'm doing it for myself, and I have full control. Well, not full control, but I have more control over my destiny than I do when I'm working for somebody else. If you work at a studio and you're a big part of a team, you play a specific aspect, and you can only control that specific aspect. Whereas as an indie developer, I say, okay, here's the design of the game that I want to do. Here's what the art's going to look like. I won't be able to handle the code myself because I don't code, but I'm going to manage the rest of it. And if any of that fails, then I did my best on that. And there's a certain satisfaction you get when you know that you've tried your hardest, even if it didn't succeed. And I'm okay with that. I'm cool with that. That's, to me, is still a success, right? So if you're working for a studio and somebody makes a stupid call up at the top, and you're biting your tongue to be quiet because you can't say anything to go against them because they're the authority on something. But it's usually the case that he was the friend of the owner or something. It's some kind of politics involved, and it's like you just want to pull your hair out. I don't like going through that experience of not having control over something when I see a really bad call or something stupid going on. And there is that they're going to pay you a steady salary, which is nice, but I prefer the freedom to be able to create what I want and have more control over my own destiny. What am I working on right now? I'm working on Blackjack Bailey. That's what this cardboard cutout stand is. It's a very simple blackjack game in VR, and it's on Steam VR right now for the HTC Vive. And then I'm bringing it over the Oculus Rift next. So we're working on remapping the controls for the Oculus Rift. And then it's probably going to go on to Google Daydream after that, and then PSVR last. So I still have to get in contact with Sony. I started the process last year, but I'm not sure what all that entails, and I would just rather get it out on all these systems and then go to Sony and then say, hey, look, we developed this game. It's already ready for VR, so we want to put it on PSVR too now. There's big money in casino games. Yeah, there is. There really is, like in apps and that. But this game isn't set up like those games. Though there's a lot of free-to-play games where they milk you for, they get you to spend your money, and then they throw in-app purchases and say, "Hey, buy more chips." And I didn't want to go that route. I said, "Nope, I don't want to do that. I don't want to force people to keep buying money to play the game. I know that there's more money in it that way, but I wanted to make a standalone game, buy it once, play forever, no in-app purchases, no DLC, nothing more to buy or do in the game. the way it works currently in the game is you get a $500 bankroll to start out, and then if you end up losing that money through betting, right, the game will end. The deal will kind of go security like this, right, and then the screen goes black and it'll be game over. But then you restart the game, and then you'll have another $500 you can work with. So you can do that forever. It just keeps looping that way. But so there's nothing to buy in the game that way. And I wanted to make a standalone product where people, I thought they would appreciate that more than another developer saying, "Hey, let's see how much money we can juice from somebody." So I wanted to go that route with it. And it's my first foray into VR games, so I wanted to do something kind of simple, seated, comfortable, and something people were already familiar with. And so I think I accomplished that. I created that exact game. It's very simple right now. It's still a work in progress. There's some bugs that we have to iron out. Sometimes the character freezes on occasion. On occasion, she doesn't pay out correctly, which is kind of a big bug. But yeah, it's just for practicing. Like if you like playing 21 and you want to build your own strategy, you know, there's different ways of doing it. And eventually want to add more decks and add more casino environment in the background, you know, get people walking around playing slot machines in the background and action going on and more kind of glitzy Vegas ambiance. Right now it's really simple. You're in this kind of empty casino and you're just in front of a single dealer and she's dealing you cards. The focus of the game is all around the table. But I think it's good for a first iteration of the project. So we did that. Anyway, thanks for coming in and hanging out with me. I'm going to bump off here. Probably do a little bit more artwork on my emojis, my German Shepherd emoji app, and then I'm probably going to play some Yakuza for a bit. So that's what I'm doing now. I play like an hour a night and just kind of chill with that before I go to bed. So, but it was good talking with you guys, and I'll try to hop on here again next week, and so we can chat again if you like. So, and I'll come better prepared with more screenshots and some artwork and stuff that you guys can see. So that'd be cool. Cool. All right. Hey, thanks for hanging out and chatting with me and hearing everything that's been going on. It was good talking to you guys too, and seeing you again. I see your names on there that I haven't seen in a long time, so that's nice. So talk to you guys later. Ciao. Bye off the lips.